मेरे को भी Hello students, welcome to this fifth session for the direct tax 100% English session. All the students appearing for CA final May 24, November 24 or CMA June 24, December 24. Last lecture students that we discussed was in the respect of the residential status of the individual, isn't it? Now, as you all are aware, students, very important particular amendments and the points we have considered in the previous session. Now, over here, students, for the individual, if I do a very quick recap of the things with all of you, what exactly we all get it, students, over here. So, as you all are aware, students, this context, so far as the individual is concerned, students, they have got a two basic test, and they will have to satisfy one of the two basic tests which is given. 182 days minimum previous year for all of you. The previous year is either he satisfied this basic test or the second one. Second one also is known to all of you students. What is that? 60 days in the current previous year. 60 days in the current previous year. And what is the second basic test? Sorry, the 60 days in the current previous year, that is the minimum stay in the previous year, 60 days, and in the last 4 preceding previous year, minimum 365. You should write minimum 365. Okay. Satisfy one of the two, and you become a resident. Then thereafter, students, we have seen some exceptions in which only the first basic condition will be considered, and that we have discussed in the last lecture was a citizen of India who is leaving India for the purpose of taking up the employment outside India. A citizen of India who leaves India for the purpose of taking up the employment outside India. That is the case. Again, only the first basic condition of 182 days is what will be considered. Second basic condition will have got no relevance whatsoever. That point clear to all of you. At the same time, if a citizen of India or a person of Indian origin, he is coming in India for visit purpose. In that case also, only the first basic condition what will be applicable, which is 182 days minimum stay in the current previous year, that will be sufficient for him to be considered as resident in India. However, when we discussed about that important amendment that took place in the Finance Act 2021, so the amendment which was there, students, was identified through this chart, which you all have copied in the last lecture. Individual or a citizen of India or a person of Indian origin who comes to India for visit purpose, in this case, whether the total income in the previous year, we will talk about previous year 23-24 only, excluding the income from the foreign sources, does it exceed more than 15 lakh? Answer can be yes or no. If it is no, then in that case, that first basic condition only have to be seen, which is minimum stay of 182 days in the previous year. However, if the answer is yes, that particular case, students, then what we are going to say? So in that particular case, students, he will be considered as resident in previous year 23-24. He will be considered as what? Resident in previous year 23-24 if any one of the basic condition is satisfied. Any one, students, of the basic condition is satisfied. What is that one? Stay in India. That first condition will remain as it is. Absolutely, we don't have any issue on that. Where the game will change will be on the second particular condition. And in the second condition, instead of 60 days, now you are replacing 120 days. So minimum stay in the current previous year should be 120 days. Minimum in the current previous year, 23-24, 120 days. And the last 4 preceding previous year, minimum stay of 365 days. You satisfy this, and you will be considered as resident. But automatically, if you satisfy this particular condition is what you are satisfying, then automatically, students, you will be a resident. But R and NOR. R and NOR. Is that point clear to all of you, students? Every one of you? That exactly is the game. So if the individual becomes resident because of this basic condition, then by default he will be considered as what? As R and NOR. I hope that all of you are clear with this one. In this particular context, with that, students, now shall proceed further in this context. So therefore, this is how the things will be considered. Now, students, I am coming to the second amendment that took place in that Finance Act 2021. The second amendment, students, in this regard. Now, for the second amendment, students, I want all of you to refer what? In this case, this from 1A till this. So from 1A till this, quickly, all of you. Read this one, students. Have you all gone through this, students? All of you? So now, students, in this particular case, what do people say? Be careful. So over here, students, the point that is being considered or to be considered is this. First of all, they are using the word 61A says or starts with notwithstanding anything contained in clause 1. Notwithstanding anything contained in clause 1. What does it mean? It means this. As per clause 1. Because please understand, the focus or the emphasis of 61A is for what? The focus or the emphasis of 61A is to make you as deemed resident in India. So that focus or the emphasis of 61A is to make you what? A deemed resident in India. And therefore, in this particular case, a person will be deemed to be a resident in India. A person will be deemed to be what? A resident in India. So obviously, when they start with the remark of what? Notwithstanding anything contained in clause 1. It means in clause 1, you are what? A non-resident. Because if in clause 1 you are a resident, then what is the purpose of going to 1A? If by virtue of clause 1, if you are a resident, then what is the purpose of going to clause 1A? So this implies that in clause 1, you are a non-resident. So by virtue of 1A, a citizen of India, if he satisfies the test which is put up in 1A, a citizen of India, if he satisfies the test put up in 1A, then that citizen of India will be considered as deemed to be a resident in India for the previous year. Deemed to be a resident in India for the previous year. So again, students, I will put up one particular chart for all of you for 6-1A. These are such a minute thing, students, before we start on the case study, and I'll tell you how the examination questions have been targeted. So you will get a first-hand understanding of your examination question. From the simplest question to what could be the possible toughest question for your examination. Now you will get exposed in the next 15 minutes. 6-1A. In this case, as you all know, for a citizen of India, it is for a citizen of India. In this case, citizen of India would be deemed to be resident in India. Resident in India if what? In the two things over here. What's this? Total income other than income from foreign sources is greater than fees 15 lakh and what? Second, he is with the next color pen not liable to tax is not liable to tax any country by reason of residence, domicile, that point clear to all. All of you have written this. I hope that all of you have written this particular point, students. Every one of you. So what they are saying in this case, students, 618, citizen of India will be deemed to be a resident in India if what? The total income other than the income from foreign sources exceed rupees 15 lakh and he is not liable to tax in any country by reason of residence, domicile, or etc. Yeah, citizenship, definitely now. Definitely. I hope that all of you are clear with this one. Now, be careful. Now, you'll say, sir, what is this? By not liable to tax in any country by reason of residence or domicile? I'll let you know. I will not answer it. I will seek an answer from all of you because I have given you the opportunity to read the provision, isn't it? So, why I should answer now? I'll give you a case study and you tell me what it would. Okay, what it would be. But before you write that question from which you will have to answer it, just can you just say in this situation, if the above conditions are satisfied, then an individual being citizen of India shall be what? See this? R and N O R. Again automatically the status. Again automatically the status. So two places you have seen students where the individual is becoming a resident, automatically his status will be R and NOR. What would be the implication of R and NOR? That I'll let you know. Don't worry about that. The implication of R and NOR, I'll let you know a bit after we are done with this analysis. But be very careful on this particular part that two places now you have seen where the individual becomes a resident, automatically he becomes what? R and NOR. I hope that every one of you are clear with this one. Now, in this particular case, here students, be very careful now in this context. Write a note, just very quickly students, write a note over here once. I'll just put across a note. Section 61A shall be, section 61A, test of deemed resident shall be considered only if the individual being a citizen of India is a non-resident as per section 61. As per section 61. I hope that all of you are clear now with this one. That be the case. Are you ready, students, now for a question which I will put up for all of you? And then you have to answer me what will be the net result. Please take a small question. Small question, I'm giving it to all of you. Let's see, students. What is your answer on that? Take a question. Mr. A, citizen of India, has Indian income of rupees 20 lakhs. Full stop. He is non-resident under section non-resident under section stays in country X from where earns fees 3 lakhs. As per the law of the as per the law of country X, comma, any individual stays in country X will be eligible for 100% exemption 100% exemption on the income earned in country X, on the income earned in country X, whether Mr. A can be considered as a deemed resident under section 61A. Whether Mr. A can be considered as a deemed resident under section 61A. That is the answer. All of you will go through this very carefully and please get me your answer. You have read the provision now. Let me see what is your answer. Quickly. Ram already have mentioned in first line, Mr. A is a citizen of India. Please tell me then, will he be considered as a deemed resident under section 61A? All the students are saying same thing. But sir, it is a deemed resident under Funny, isn't it? But the answer is he is a non-resident. That exactly is the game. I am putting up the question. Do you easily I will give up? Say, I easily give up on these one, students. Will definitely will make an attempt, last attempt to ensure that you get an error in your answer, isn't it? That's exactly the point. Now you tell me, students, yes, he is a citizen of India. That condition is satisfied. Is his total income in India, excluding the income from foreign sources, more than 15 lakhs? Yes. So that is satisfied. But the third condition is this, that as you could see, that he is not liable to tax in any other country. He is not liable to tax. Question to all of you students is, in this question, is Mr. A, is he liable to tax in any other country? In this case, is he should not be liable to tax, only then 61A will be applicable and therefore he will be considered as deemed resident. He should not be liable to tax, only then 61A condition we can say that will be applicable and hence he will be a deemed resident. So is he liable to A in this case? Just right, I'm giving you an answer here first up. To be considered as what? As deemed resident, under section 61A, Mr. A, Mr. A, inter area. This is a magical word, students. Congratulations. In one word that you can write at the end of your book, that you will do it later on. Mr. A, inter alia should not be liable to tax. Should not be liable not be liable tax in any other country. In the present case, Mr. A is liable to tax in country X and hence deemed resident laws of 61A is not applicable, and accordingly Mr. A, the non-resident in India. Mr. A is non-resident in India. I still know that many students are in the state of shock at a particular point of time, isn't it? But don't worry, we'll sort out. He is liable to tax. You've missed the concept. Now, again, I'm giving you the last chance, students. Again, I'm giving you the last chance. You people, you are going to become students, India's noted tax lawyer in the country. So I'm giving you one last opportunity. Read this paragraph again and tell me, is he liable to tax in country X or he is not liable to tax in country X? Read this para again and tell me. Is he liable to tax or not? Hey, how you this case? Is he liable to tax, students? Quickly. So they have given the definition liable to tax. I'm directly see one more thing, students. How you read the provision? Srinath, how you read the provision? Whenever this comma comes, how simplifying you should be in a position. Why I also want to develop your reading practice. There is one reason for it. Students, do you know what is the reason? I can easily make it simplified for all of you by making the charts and all without you reading even the provision. But I don't want to do that. There is a reason for that. Friends, in the old course, means right now is the old course, it's November 23. Even before that, November 23, the old course before that. Two people are in the new course, May 24, November 24. But old to old course. So right now, old course, November 23 attempt, but old to old. ICI for the 2-3 attempts, do you know what these people is to do? In fact, I don't know whether this was in the syllabus or not, but ICI used to give you a reading comprehension exercise. Reading comprehension. What is reading comprehension? They used to give you treaty provision, treaty that say India USA double taxation avoidance agreement treaty. A paragraph they used to give you, and then they used to put up some 2-3 questions on that, and they used to ask, now you answer this. Now you answer this. This is how these people used to play the games. So reading comprehension of some paragraphs of India USA or India UK or India and any third country double taxation avoidance agreement. Paragraph they used to give, and then below the paragraph 2-3 questions. So the reading ability, now obviously that is only provisions. You should know then how to read out the relevant portion of that para so as to get your answers. So reading a law is an art. This is one thing that you should always keep in mind. Reading a law is an art. Now see how I am reading here. Liable to tax. Now in the after that there is a comma. In relation to a person and with reference to a country, again there is a comma. So therefore comma and comma in between that words you can skip and directly you can jump. Liable to tax means what? Means that there is an income tax liability on such person under the law of that country for the time being, and so and shall include means and include what? A person who has subsequently been exempted from such liability. So tell me then in this particular case, if this is the meaning, What is the situation now? Go back to your question of Mr. X. How much is the income that he has earned in country X? 50 lakhs. Okay. Now, the law of that country is exempting. Means, is it chargeable? Yes, it is chargeable. And after chargeability, subsequently there is an exemption. Do you all agree to this one? After chargeability, subsequently there is an exemption. So first there is a charge, then there is an exemption. There cannot be an exemption without a charge. If an amount, tell me one thing, if an amount is not an income at all, can you say, sir, it is exempt? When the amount is not an income, it is not chargeable. And if it is not chargeable, where is the question for you to further discuss that whether it is exempt or not? That answer becomes irrelevant. So therefore, in this case, what country X is doing in this question? First, they are saying this is the income, and then they are giving you the exemption. It means it is chargeable. Chargeable, if it is chargeable and subsequently exempt, if it is chargeable and subsequently exempt, can I say therefore that income, that foreign income, is it liable to tax? Yes, it is liable to tax. And if it is liable to tax, if it is liable to tax, then the deemed resident under section 61A, the deemed resident under section 61A, will that apply? No. Because for the application of deemed resident under 61A, what is required? What is required is that the individual, what is required, students? In this case, the individual being a citizen of India should not be liable to tax in the foreign country, not be liable to tax. Whereas here, Mr. A is liable to tax in country X, and hence 61A not applicable, and accordingly Mr. A would be considered as non-resident. Please write the next line. Next line of your note. All of you. Next line of your note. Please write. Uh, can you first underline this, liable to tax? The term liable to tax includes, underline the word includes, even that foreign income. Term liable to tax includes even that foreign income which is chargeable, which is chargeable but subsequently exempted, as per the law, of the foreign country, as per the law of the foreign country. Full stop. The present case, the income of rupees 50 lakhs, the income of rupees 50 lakhs earned by Mr. A, earned by Mr. A in country X, in country X is chargeable, is chargeable, but has been, but has been exempted, but has been exempted as per the law of country X, as per the law of country X, and hence he is liable to tax, and hence he is liable to tax in country X. Full stop. I hope that all of you are clear with this one now. Now, first of all, students, you have to be very careful about 2-3 things. I just wanted to make you clear. My student who has got the best paper award in taxation has scored 94, and he was from a vernacular medium, Hindi medium. He was from Rajasthan. Presently, he is in Singapore. So, you know what he used to do? When I used to explain it, so he told me one thing that, sir, can I put up my answers because my English is not good. I could not write because my study was in Hindi medium throughout. So what he's asked me was that, sir, can I put up the provision, like the difficult provision, simple provision I can write, but difficult provision, can I write it like this, the way you are putting up in the notes? I said that why not? You can definitely do that. Means that you can use this technique. So, like yesterday, the examiner should know that you have understood the provision carefully. Okay, the form is not important, how you are putting up the provision. What is important is that he should be very clear that in this case that you are aware of this one. Now you just tell me this sort of provision of 120 days and all, start writing it. Chances are very high that you may get it. And error means the sentence formation would not be proper. So why to take this unnecessary burden? There's such complicated provisions. It's not complicated in terms of understanding, but complicated in terms of writing. Please understand one thing. You people have understood it. But that's only 50% of the battle. The remaining 50% is what? Can you write it now? That would be a big challenge. You see for yourself and see your preparation for every subject. Can you write it? And if you cannot write it, that's a problem. The real challenge of all the CA students is only this. Everyone understands it. What is happening in the class. But now, can you translate it? No, I can't. I can't do that. What I've understood, I cannot translate it properly. And if you cannot do this, your 50% work is still yet to get over. And therefore, you have to be very clear about this position that you have to put up in your examination. So ask yourself, are you capable of putting up, reproducing the provision as it is? Be honest. If you say no, do you have time to invest in all that? Again, the answer is no. Be smart. What is smart? Put up this way and put up the provision. Because your first point always, students, has to be the provision only. First point, students, always has to be the provision. Then you start with the explanation. You cannot start with the explanations and all, and then provision is somewhere coming in between, in bits and pieces. That presentation will not be acceptable. And hence, in this regard, students, this is what primarily I was telling to all of you. Put up the provision in this way. Not an issue. Then, next paragraph, start explaining based on what is the question. Start explaining the provision. Conclude your answer. Be smart in doing that. Now, if you remember, students, what I did in this answer while I was answering this, remember my technique? Which technique I followed over here? The technique which I followed over here, students, was I use this term inter alia. Why? I don't want to unnecessarily, I know see this problem would be there. You know for how many marks it will be? It will be for 2 marks. This question. That is the problem. We understand everything. But now, for if I have to write the entire provision, if I have to write for entire provision, please tell me now. Then it is fine. I can write the entire provision. Then I have to explain the question with the provision which I have just written and then conclude. But to do that, it will be 1 page. You'll only write that. Or 3/4 of the page. 2 marks is sufficient? Answer is no. Can't do it in 2 marks. 2 marks means you have to be precise. You have to be absolutely precise. It is one thing that you can write everything, but it is very difficult to write only relevant things. You understand the difference? It is one thing that you can write everything. That is easy. But it is very difficult to write the precise thing. This is what is a precise thing. The question was based only on this. Do I need to write about the Indian income and all those stuff? Yes, I would have written this. Indian income is more than 15 lakhs. Provided the question would have been of 4 marks. But in this small 2 marks question, I have to, if I have to keep writing Indian income to 15 lakhs satisfied, but the second condition is not satisfied, all that where I have got the time, 4 marks, it is fine. 2 marks, no, it is not possible. So what I do? Write the precise provision. What is the precise provision? This is what it is. To be resident, to be considered as deemed resident under 6(1)(a), Mr. A. That 2 marks question, this is the magical word. Which magical word? Inter alia. Now what do you mean by inter alia? Among other thing. Among other thing. In the last page also you can write this particular thing. Among other thing. Among other thing. Other thing means, so 6(1)(a) has got other condition also. 6(1)(a) has got other condition also. Do you all agree? Yes. So 6(1)(a) has got other condition. So among the other condition, this is one. What I am writing now. Among the other conditions, this is one which I am writing now. What I am writing should not be liable to tax in any other country. Should not be liable to tax in any other country. This is the only thing which I need to explain now. And I explained. Now if you see, liable to tax also, the means part of the definition I have got no concern. The means part of the definition. Did you saw that? The means part of the definition. There were 2 things. In liable to tax, there were 2 things. Which were the 2 things? Which were the 2 things? Quickly. Means and include. Both. Means and include. What is the relevant thing which I have to pick up? What is the relevant thing which I have to pick up? Include. Means has got no relevance in this question at all. What is relevant is only include. And therefore, if include is the one which is only relevant in this particular case, if include is the one which is only relevant in this case, that is what the term liable to tax includes what? An income which is chargeable but made subsequently exempt in the foreign country. That is what it is. As simple as that. Why you are complicating the provision? Otherwise, I am telling you, you cannot even write the provision. Think of yourself. In fact, I will not be also in a position to write the entire thing. And can you see the length of my solution now? Is it perfect for 2 marks? The length of the solution which is there in your answer sheet, can you see for 2 marks? Is it perfect length? Yes. The perfect length. That is the ball game, students. I am telling you, students, across the country, nobody is addressing this core issue of the CA students. You take the examination as test series, attempt after attempt. What you are giving, you don't know what you are giving. You are giving only test series. Then after 3 or 4 attempts, then you realize, okay, this is where I am going wrong. And then this is where I need to fine tune myself. And then in the 4th or 5th attempt, then they crack it. This is a story of all 90% CA students. This is a story. I can bet on that. Because everyone, how is it possible? all the students, don't you think that they CA final students, they have not understood and they are appearing for the examination? Everyone has understood it. But where is the problem? The problem is that they cannot write it. Two problems are there. Number one, they cannot write it, and second problem is they cannot complete it. There are only two main problems which is there in this context. And yes, if the paper is difficult because their concept is not that clear, they are fumbling it on the difficult papers. So if the paper is difficult, then they will fumble because the concepts are not clear. If the paper is average or simple, even in that they cannot score. Leave aside difficulty. Simple and average paper also they cannot score. Why? This is the two big challenge. Number one, they cannot write it as per what is asked, as per how much is the marks allocation to that question. And second is they cannot complete the paper. And one of the reasons why they cannot complete the paper, now you came to know, 2 marks. What is the length? Length is 1 page, 3/4. How can you complete the paper then? These are the very core issues. I am telling you students, these are the most core issues which are there, which students fail to address it. And it takes attempt after attempt. And I am telling you, even giving the normal test series does not enlighten you. Okay, in the test series I am enlightening. No, this takes time. So when you are learning, at that stage, the consciousness has to be there. So we will be doing the question which is having a good length. 8 marks and all. Take your time. No hurry. But we will also be addressing those questions which has got only 2 marks. How do we resolve that? Either you don't, even if you know, then my advice would be, even if you know the answer, then you don't write the answer. Why? In this writing that 2 marks, it will be at the cost of something big, which you may end up knowing after 3 hours only. This is what it is. But these are the marks which you can easily pocket it, full marks, as compared to any other students, provided you are decisive in your answer. One of the most important aspect, every CA final students, now it's a high time. If not now, then when? This is your last examination. When you will be then tested as a chartered accountant? Or after becoming CA, that the ICA will ask you, now you tell us how you will do it? No, this is the final stage. Everything has to be here now. If not now, then when? That's the question. Therefore, these are the aspects which we will be addressing it in a class from time to time. And please learn these important lessons apart from the concepts and everything, which anyways we are going to address it. Let's get started with this one now. So we are done with this 6th one completely. The students over here, they are not going to ask this question, but nevertheless, as you know, students, if you don't satisfy the basic condition, or if you don't satisfy the deemed resident condition of 6(1)(a), then you are a non-resident. As simple as that. Then you are what? Non-resident. But let's come to the other aspect. If you are a resident, then then what? If you are a resident, then what? Then friends, be careful. In 2 cases, if you are a resident, then automatically you are R and NOR. In 2 cases, if you are a resident, then automatically what? You are R and NOR. Which are those 2 cases? You already know that 120 days and then 365 days for that for individual coming for visit in India. And just now we read 6(1)(a). He satisfies this deemed resident condition. That case also he will be R and NOR. Is that clear? But all the other individuals for them, students, they need to satisfy this to become what? R and OR. And if they don't satisfy, and for this, for R and NOR. Satisfy this to become what? R and OR. Satisfy this to become what? R and NOR. By the way, students, your book is in the print. Your first booklet is of 404 pages. Which is, sir, we are frightened. Don't be frightened, students. In that book, there is one topic. Apart from the good questions which are there in this module, I have given one separate chapter of comprehensive Q&A also in that module. comprehensive Q&A, which is consisting of around 60 pages or so. Okay, but that I will be addressing through the YouTube lectures. That will be done, so that because class time I just wanted to reduce it, so therefore that Q&A session I will do it through that. You can attend it live if you all want it, to all of you. Okay, so that is one thing which would be. Then you guys participate. If you will not participate, who else? Because others will finding the things quite. They will be feeling the heat of the kind of questions that students you are going to get exposed in this particular material. Okay, virtually I'm telling you students, you are going to be not only examination ready, but professionally you are ready to set up your career in international taxation for sure. Anyway, students, let's start with this. RNOR, all of you are aware, for RNOR, two conditions additionally you satisfy, then you become what? R and OR. But again, I'm keeping you reminded with the fact that this is not applicable for those two new amendments which we addressed, one yes in the last lecture and one in the today's class, where if a person becomes a resident, then automatically he is RNOR. Two cases we identified. So therefore, this two additional condition to be satisfied to become R and OR, R and OR is not applicable for that two new cases which we did. One last lecture and one in current lecture. Okay, so which is the two additional condition which if you satisfy, you become what? R and OR. Let me simplify for all of you. Condition number one. In the last 10 preceding previous year, any 2 years, minimum, he is a resident. The last 10 preceding previous year, any 2 years, he is what? A resident. And what? And what? And in the last 7 preceding previous year, his aggregate stay in India is for minimum 730 days. The last 7 preceding previous year, his aggregate stay in India is how much? 730 days. So if he satisfy both these conditions, he will be both these additional conditions. He is what? He is a resident and ordinary resident. If he does not satisfy any of the additional condition, or even only one additional condition, if he does not satisfy any of the additional conditions or only one additional condition, then his status is R and NOR. I hope that all of you are clear with this one. So, how you will become an R and NOR? First thing, how you become an R and NOR? In this case, first thing is what? The two cases. Which two cases? The two new cases. One which we did in the last lecture, one which we did today, wherein automatically you are, this is automatic R and NOR. This is what? Automatic R and NOR. Automatic R and NOR. Isn't it? And come to 1 and 2. 1 and 2 is what, friends? Defaulting. Like, what is the default? I told you, no? Minimum 2 years out of the last 10 years, you have to be a resident. So if I say that for 9 years, or for all the 10 years, in the last 10 years, for 9 years or for all the 10 years, if he is a non-resident, then obviously he will become what? He will become a R and NOR. And what is the second case? For the last 7 years, his stay is less than 730 days. Less than 730 days. And again the same thing. He is R and NOR. And the additional two cases. They may not ask you this question. At least what I feel very strongly, but nevertheless be prepared. At least you need to revise it. MCQs, yeah. So that is what only the particular thing. Otherwise, generally this is meant for inter-CA part. Okay. CA final individual is the above one because I'm just distinguishing between inter-CA and final CA, but still you should know. You cannot say that because it was inter-CA, therefore I left. Students, many of you are asking, sir, then what is the relevance of all this? But isn't it? The relevance, students, of all this is that, as you all know, students, if an individual is R and OR, then you know that the world income is taxable. Global income is taxable. Is taxable. That is all you are aware. If you are a non-resident, then only two incomes are taxable. If you are an NR, income which is accrued or deemed to accrue in India, or and what is second income? Income which is received in India, irrespective of the place of accrual. Where it is accruing, we don't care. But if it is received in India, taxable in India. But what about the R and NOR? As far as R and NOR is concerned, this is one of the points. It is quite interesting, isn't it? For R and NOR is concerned, students, this point is quite interesting. Indian income, anyway, for R and NOR, Indian income is taxable. What is Indian income? Either accrued in India or received in India. Indian income. What is Indian income? By the way, you will just, which is, what is Indian income? Either it is accrued in India, AI, or RI. This is a short form. Don't use these short forms in the examination, only for our chart making purpose. Indian income is either AI or RI. Okay. For R and NOR, this is a game of foreign income. Foreign income, which is this AOI plus ROI plus, students, accrued outside India plus received outside India. This is not taxable unless what? Unless it is an income earned outside India in respect of what? Respect of business or profession controlled from India. Controlled from where? From India. Not taxable unless it is an income earned outside India in respect of business controlled from India. I hope that all of you are clear with this one. Every one of you. Be careful. This is or. This is, these minute points are important. Now, before I start with the question used and the case studies, there is one last point, students, which is left. So this will introduce you to the advanced aspect of your international taxation. See how it begins. People will get a window. And there was something of this one also, no? If you would have seen in the last lecture that we discussed, only 182 days was applicable. This is what we discussed in the last lecture. Only 182 days was applicable. We did what if a citizen of India leaves India for employment purpose? What about the point number one? Who lives in India as a member of a crew of an Indian ship? Who leaves India as what? As a member of a crew of an Indian ship. In that case, what happens? Only the first basic condition of 182 days is applicable. Isn't it? Now there is a huge challenge that is there in this particular first criteria condition. Big challenge. I'll tell you what it is. All of you will appreciate. Supposingly, let's take an example. Trinad, which is the port in Vishakhapatnam. What is that called as? And Ram, you will tell me the name of the port of Chennai. Quickly. And this is a port of Jabal Ali. Dubai. Do people help me for Visakhapatnam and Chennai? Rest I will take care of. The name itself is Vizag. There is no other name, specific name. Like Dubai port, we say Jabal Ali. Is there any name given or only Vizag? Okay. Vizag only. Vizag Port Trust. And for Chennai, Ram, that is also named as Chennai. Chennai Port Trust. Okay, fair enough. Then in Mumbai, this is the Nhava Shiva port. That is in Mumbai. And then there is a Kandla port in Gujarat. Isn't it? That's there towards Gujarat. So students, say for example, over here, a particular ship starts its journey from Vizag. A particular ship, students, okay, so this is the start point. So particular ship is starting from Vizag. All the crew members will board in Vizag then. And this is from Vizag to Dubai. So the loading of the goods has happened. The loading of the goods, students, has happened in Vizag. And now it has to go to where? Dubai. Dubai it has to go, students. That point clear to all of you? Dubai it has to go. This context. So therefore the question to all of you is over here. But the moment you board the ship of Vizag, the ship which is situated in port of Vizag, so people, that crew member will think what? The crew member will think that now they are outside India. That's what it is, no? That is how we think. Then the ship, when they start, we will think that it is outside India. No. The goods, this Vizag ship first will touch down to Chennai. Then it will go to Nhava Sheva. From there also it will collect the goods. From Nhava Sheva it will collect the goods from Kandla port. And then all the goods collected, they will now move to Dubai, port of Jabal Ali. This is how the journey will happen. But these crew members, the moment they will board the ship, they will think that now, the moment the ship moves, they will find that now they are outside India. That is what we feel. Na? Same way, like for example, this is how the passenger thinks. Say from Mumbai, students, say Mumbai, I am flying to Singapore. Okay, the moment the takeoff happens of the aircraft on the air, I think now I am in the foreign country. No, for the next 2 hours or so, I am in the airspace of India only. In the Indian airspace only I am there. So I am not in the foreign country, I am in India. Once I cross the Indian space, then only I am out of India. That's the point. So therefore what happens? See, for the ship people, These people, the moment the ship starts, they might think that they are now outside India. No, no, no. First it is in Chennai, then it is in Nhava Sheva, then it is Kandla Port. The beauty is that you are still in the TWI. The beauty is what? You people should are still in TWI. What is TWI? Territorial Water of India, which is up to 12 nautical miles. TWI is what? The territorial waters of India, which is up to 12 nautical miles. Nautical miles is 1 nautical miles is approximately around 1.82 kilometers. The measurement of sea is done in nautical miles because obviously the sea portion across the earth is much higher as compared to much higher as compared to the land mass, and hence land mass is measured in kilometers, sea is measured in nautical miles. So we are still in this 12 nautical miles, but we may think what? Okay, we are outside India now because the ship is moving and therefore we are outside India, but we are still in India. And maybe 12, 13 days family has spent only from Vizag to Kandla port. Technically, then I am in India. But these people would think that no, I am outside India. And then what happens? I'll tell you. From Dubai, the unloading will happen. Unloading will happen from Dubai. And then fresh consignment would be loaded from Dubai. That is there. Fresh consignment will be loaded from Dubai or not? Yes. So now the fresh consignment will be going here. Then in Nhava Sheva. Thereafter, it will go to Chennai. Then finally, it will enter into Vizag. Now, beauty would be that now I will start thinking what? That only when I reach to Vizag, my ship finally reached to Vizag, then I will think, okay, now I have came back to India. No. The moment it hit the Kandla port, you are already in the 12 nautical miles. Thereafter, Nhava Sheva, all you were in the India that time only. But what would be the people assessment? No, once I reach to Vizag back, once I reach to Vizag back, then I will say that no, I am now I have reached India. This is the thought process of the people. And therefore, students, this is a real problem. Did you all got this one? Accordingly, students, what will happen? Many people will say that in this case, so you were there in India when you started from Vizag till the ship left Kandla port. You were there in India. And I told you that 12 days was consumed only in this. Similarly, 12 days was consumed when the ship from Dubai it reached to Kandla port, and then from Kandla to Nhava Sheva to Chennai and finally to Vizag. Those 12 days. So 24 days to and fro, you were actually in India itself. But you may not even consider that. You may not even consider that. And then you will say that no, sir, I am not considering 24 and I am less than. So I am not considering the 24 and my total number of stay in India was say 170 days. My total number of stay in India is 170 days and therefore I am a non-resident. Because 182 days is what is required now. So therefore I am a non-resident. But now you consider this because you are in TWI in that period, because you were in TWI, now you say 194 days. Suddenly now you become a resident. See the entire game. Now tell me one thing. For SSC, it's very difficult to assess when he is in TWI, when he is out of TWI. Even for the department, it's very difficult to assess when that person is in TWI, when he is not in TWI. Very difficult to assess. And therefore, one provision was introduced to say that this period, when he starts from Vizag, which is primarily when he starts from Vizag, till the time he comes back, till the time he comes back, entire period, which is 24 days, will not be considered. The period when he starts from Vizag, till the time he comes back, those entire period will not be considered in determining what? In determining his residential state. That provision, students, has been given. That provision, students, I can tell you, has been given over here. Can you see this? The provision has been right. Yes, Read this one, all of you. Page number 6. Is that clear to all of you? So joining the ship till signing of the ship. Signing of it when he comes back, returns back to Vizag. He has to sign the register, he has to sign. So that much of the period will not be considered in counting the number of days of the stay in India. I hope that all of you are clear with this one. If that be the case, friends, let's look from the MCQs and all. Stopping there. MCQ and the case study. Let's get started, friends. In this case, now there is an example. The example is people can do it later on. The homework that is for all of you. We will start with the MCQ which are being given along with the most one of the difficult case study I am going to start. You'll get a feel of what kind of questions, difficult questions could be there. Mr. Adarsh is an employee in Gulf country. Friends, you only will, I think the best is that without looking into solution, see this, get your answer. I want an answer first from all of you only. Friends, as you all are aware, we have got the leap year, na? This instead of 192, we can do 193. Just to be remembered. I have not taken the leap year, friends. That was a this thing. Where in the solution, if you see, the leap year is not there, but nevertheless, now you can understand it. It has to be 360. So I think all of you can understand this particular part. Accordingly, answer it. This minor correction is required for the leap year. Friends, this is a question which has been there very carefully in this regard. Of the ICI. This is a notorious question. This question I have kept it. Some questions today I have kept it of the ICI in the booklet. Some questions which are highly controversial. I think all of you have read this question. I hope that all of you have read it. So some question students I have kept of the ICI, which is highly controversial. Now what is the controversy in this question? Friends, here the solution that has been worked out by the ICI is on the basis of what? The fact that only that 182 days condition is what will be considered. Only that 182 days condition is what will be considered on the basis of the fact that Mr. Adarsh is leaving India for the purpose of taking up the employment outside India. This word has to be actually be very clear, and the leaving India should be in the current year. Obviously, that is the reason why in the current year you should leave in India for the purpose of taking up the employment outside India. This word primarily is not specific in the question. On the contrary, what they have said, others is an employee in the Gulf country. What impression does it give? Tell me. What impression does it give? It gives the impression that maybe he is already an employee in the Gulf country, like my brother, my uncle. They are the employee in the Gulf country. Say for example, isn't it? That is the impression that we get it. But no, ICI in their own innovations, they would have thought of it that no, because we are giving you the data of the current year, therefore you make an assumption to that effect. It's a controversial question. Now, I must say to all of you, why I have kept this controversial question, even I will tell you this. If the same controversial question comes in the examination, then you will go as per the controversy. That is what it is. But obviously, for all the remaining question, you have to only go with the consent and your understanding. So the controversial question has been kept only for one very important reason. And what is the reason? If the same question comes, then you know the answer. But what ICI has taken the approach. That is the only particular criteria, because believe me, if this would not have been the ICI question, then I would have solved, frankly speaking, I would have assumed that Mr. Adarsh is already there where? In Gulf. And if he is already there as an employee of the Gulf, that condition of 182 days only may not be considered there. Then I will test him in both. What is that both? 182 days in the previous year, or 60 days, or 365 days in this particular aspect. I will test him in this both case. And then I will see whether he could be considered as a resident or not. And if he is a non-resident, still, then I will go where? I will go there in that 61A. In that 61A, but for 61A also I require that important term that he is a citizen of India. Now that is something again not coming up from the question. Citizen of India should be very much obvious, isn't it? Even that is not coming up. But let me in fact give even an assumption, because in the option I can see resident by virtue of 61A. That one option D, na? See this D option? Then I may think that okay, let me then try out that 61A. That if he becomes a non-resident as per 61, that two conditions I will test. In this case, and then I will go with 61A. Yeah, but yeah, that 15 lakh will split up across it. That split up we will do it. That is how we are given. So students, this is the point. But here the ICI, if you see in this context, students, I can say that he is a resident if I have gone with my solution. Assuming that Mr. Adarsh is already what? Adarsh is already there in Gulf. He is not leaving in the current year for taking up the employment. In this case, in such situation, I might say that this 173 days, which has been considered, I may say that families, I will also test him in that 60 days condition. And if I test him in that 60 days condition, plus 365 days in the last 4 preceding previous years, then obviously he has become a resident. But here students, they are saying that no, assume that in this case he is leaving India for the purpose of taking up the employment outside India. And if that is the case, second basic condition of 60 days will not be applicable. Then I go with the first basic condition. And what is the first basic condition? 182 days. And it is told to you that he is in India for 173 days. And because he is in India for 173 days, therefore, as per 6.1, he is a non-resident. And as per 6.1, if he is a non-resident, then I will go under 6.1A, just check that whether he can be deemed as a resident. But again, with the insufficient data of the question, where they have not told you that he is a citizen, he is not. They have not told you specifically a citizen, but fine. Going by this 6.1A, one of the options that they have given us, let us try. So how do I try? In this case, first tell me how much is the Indian income. So to calculate the Indian income, 25 lakhs, you already know. Into what? Into 173 days divided by 366 days. This I can say is the total income in India other than the foreign source. So in that case, how much would be approximate? Is it hitting more than 15 lakhs? Answer is no. How much is that? 11 lakh? 11 lakh 82,000? 11.82 lakhs approximately. Isn't it? So therefore it does not exceed more than 15 lakhs. And if it does not exceed more than 15 lakhs, therefore what I will say, he is a non-resident. He is a non-resident. I am now convinced he is a non-resident. So I was only trying for that 6.1A only for one reason, because the question is not that specific. But I am convinced that he is a non-resident. So accordingly, if all the options, if I have to see A, B, C, D, and E, A, B, C, D, and E, I finally say that the only option which tells, sorry, the only option which tells him that he's a non-resident is the option number A. This therefore becomes my answer as well. But I must say, very poorly drafted question of the ICI. Very poorly drafted. So please understand some of the controversial questions, some of the poorly drafted questions of the ICI are also being kept in the book, telling to all of you that students, if this same question comes, then you will have to take the same position, same assumption which the ICI has taken, primarily in solving the MCQs. Had it been a descriptive question, I have got a liberty. Liberty of what? I may give another assumption and I can go ahead with the answer. But the MCQ question challenges to us. Why? Four option, choose only one. ICI says A, I am saying E, although E is also right. But does I get an opportunity to tell to the examiner what is there in my mind? Why I took E? No, because I cannot reason it. So therefore, because I cannot reason it, hence these controversies are something which you have to be very careful. This is one of the controversial questions been there. So MCQ controversies, we will go with this. Descriptive controversy, we will go with the concept. And then any controversial position which ICI might have taken in their modules, that we will give it in the note. That we will give it in a note. We will say, sir, why you are giving it in the note? Because the examiners, be careful, huh? I'll tell you now. Why these? For the last 2-3 attempts, there was a lot of controversy in the ICI that the papers are not checked properly and all those stuff, because the examiner who actually sits in the panel to draft the solution, they sit primarily and give their own solution. They don't see your suggested answer. They don't see your RTPA solution. They don't see your what is the solution in the module. They will give what is that particular solution is appropriate. Now that has been told by the head examiner itself of a DT, who is my student itself. He has told this particular part that we don't see modules and all, only see what should be the correct solution. That is the reason why, if in a descriptive question there are some controversial position which ICI might have taken, we will solve in this case with the conceptual part, and the controversy which ICI has done, we'll keep it in the note. But this is an alternate position that might exist. That might exist. So wherever there is a controversy, we'll put up this position. Don't worry. Let's look upon to MCQ number 2. All of you. Fortunately, put up this. Option number B, students, can you see this? Resident since his stay in previous year is greater than 120 days and his stay in preceding 4, actually C is coming below, unfortunately. Preceding 4 previous year is more than 5 days. So this is all is B. All is B. Therefore, students, this case, D will be C and E will be D. Same thing has happened over here. Thing. Proceeding for this also. In case the solution was A, still. See this? Proceeding 4 previous year is more than 3. Just anyway, for this one was A, so we don't have to worry at all. If you all are through with this one, students, if you all are through with this one, students, we will now move to this case study. Now, students, I just first want all of this is see the case study. Yeah? This is your first 30 marks MCQ and integrated case study kind of a question. First 30 marks MCQ and integrated case study which is there. I just would want all of you just see the question here. Case study 1. See the kind of question. You see this? This goes up till second page, till page 9. 2 pages question. Now, obviously, students, believe me, if you read this question in conventional manner, if you read the question in the conventional manner, I can tell you one thing. You know what is going to happen? You will take a lot of time. A lot of time you are going to take. Therefore, these questions, first, I'll tell you, first, these type of questions, integrated case study, with too much of data, with what? With too much of data, should not be attempted initially. I hope that all of you are clear with this one. Too much of data should not be initiated. I always tell my students that these big questions, and therefore, please understand, we have to expose ourselves to all the varieties of the question. And you should also know, you should not be happy that, sir, I knew the question, therefore I did the question. No, sometimes, some question if you knew, you should try to avoid that question. Avoid when? Avoid doing it initially. Don't do it initially. Why? Because if you do it initially, these are the trap questions. What is a trap question? It is going to take a lot of your time in solution. You may get full solution, but how many questions are there? In this case, can you see how many questions are given? There are in all 5 questions. 1, 2 of this case study. 3, 3, 4, and what? And 5. So how many marks? 5 to 6 marks maximum. Because there are other questions also, no? 30 marks of your MCQ and integrated case study. So you should also have the ability, students, to know that if there is such a big questions like this, number 1, even if you know it, okay, if the same question comes, then nothing like that. Then I will tell you, then please go ahead. But if obviously the question may not be same, may not be the same. So what is your approach? Approach number 1 is, even if you know it, avoid it doing it. It means you are going to do it later. Later when? Somewhere in the last 1 hour. In last 1 hour, students, think of it. Will you have any time? At that stage, no. There are other questions that also needs to be answered. If there is other question that needs to be answered, do you think you will have then luxury do this lengthy questions in a normal way? There has to be some out of the box approach for the last 1 hour question. These are the classic questions which are to be done last 1 hour. And how do you do that? I'll now tell you how you do that. Friends, in these big case studies, always read what? Read the first paragraph. This big case study, always read the first paragraph. Okay? Can you just start reading the first paragraph? Resident in Gulf country, they should have mentioned Trina. You don't become resident like that. Become a resident. There could be some test. The Gulf country may not have the same test. We have got 182 days criteria. Gulf country may have a different criteria. Like US has got a different criteria. Every country has a different criteria for residential status. We have got a criteria of 182 days, 60 days. That is our domestic law. But that does not mean that the Gulf country or US or every country will have the same test of being resident. We have got a different test. Read the first para only, students. You just need this one or first paragraph. I don't want you to make reading conventional way. Conventional way also you will take your time, half an hour, 45 minutes, and you'll get your answer. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Get the answer in half an hour or 45 minutes. The big deal is if it is for 6 marks, then how much time? 10 minutes, 15 minutes maximum, isn't it? Now, in the data, when you read it, students, one important point: if there is more than one person involved, which is you are finding it in this question, sir, more than one person, please keep in mind, always have the habit of. So, Mr. Rajesh and Ms. Soumya, born in India. So, what are the relevant underlining which you do in your this paper? So, born in India, so therefore they are person of Indian origin. At least we can say. And then since the year 2010, they have become a citizen of country X. Citizen of country X, but are they person of Indian origin? They have taken the citizen of origin, but born in India. So this is what is only relevant for Rajesh and Soumya. Then they have got two sons who are also citizen of India. Sorry, citizen of country X. But even if they are citizen of country X, students, please tell me then. Please tell me in this case, are they are they person of Indian origin? The two sons, Mr. Dinesh and Karthik, are the person of Indian origin? Yes, I told you already that either they themselves should be born in India, or their parents should have been born in India, or their grandparents. Only then they are a person of Indian origin. So, at least one conclusion that I can get up till here in this case, up till here, students, I can get one conclusion that all the four of them are what? PIO. Settlement. Conclude. Don't leave it as it is. That much of the paragraph, they are PIO. Person of Indian origin. I hope that all of you are clear with this one. Now, students, if you see, I come to know there are four people involved. I cannot leave this paragraph reading like a novel or like a poetry. I have to mark Now this paragraph is for Dinesh. So over here in this case, up till here it is Dinesh. Then it goes to Mr. Karthik. So in this case, up till here it is Karthik. Then here it is going to Mr. Rajesh. In this context. And then thereafter it is Mrs. So D, K, R. You have to split these sort of a paragraph. Only the first paragraph you are doing it in this way. See this approach. More than one person involved. More than one person involved. Try to have the thought, clear the clutter. Clear the clutter means irrelevant way of putting the things. You cannot read the paragraph in normal way. I have told that in the first 6 lines I came to know they are PIO. That is it. Thereafter, the following four or 5 lines for Dinesh. Next 3 lines Karthik. 1 line Rajesh. Another line Soumya. That is it. Now I am not interested to read the next 5 paragraphs. Now this much of the reading might take me 2 minutes. Because I will read it patiently. First paragraph I will read it patiently. And you know what I am going to do? I'm not going to read it anything now. It's just what are you doing? I am now interested, students, to know in this case what is the question. And now based on the question I will answer it. So I will read the first 2-3 questions herein. What is the residential status of Miss Soumya? Now please pay attention how I am answering it. Please pay attention. I will answer everything. But please pay attention. What is the residential status of Miss Soumya? 1%. In the second MCQ. What is the residential status of Mr. Karthik and Mr. Dinesh? So second question has got 2%. Who are those 2%? Dinesh and Karthik. Then let's have a look to third question. What is the total income of Mr. Dinesh? Okay, total income of whom? Dinesh. What is the last one to do? Total income of Karthik. And what is the next question? Total income of Karthik in this case. And the last one to do is what? Residential status of Mr. Rajesh. Rajesh. 5 MCQs are there. Please think of it how I am thinking. I want you also to think it in this way. Concept plus the smart work. I am giving the examination. Right now in the class we will solve everything. The examination, do you know what I am going to do? If I am running out of time, I will do one thing. 3 questions are on residential status. Isn't it? 3 questions are on residential status. You know what I am going to do? 2 questions are on total income. I might skip the total income and do the that much information I will just take it. And therefore I attack whom now? In fact, if I have to do the question of whom in this case, so Rajesh, Soumya and Dinesh and Karthik. Or I'll another option, students. Forget in this case. So herein, why in this case, students, herein. So Rajesh, Soumya, Dinesh and Karthik. Residential status. So let's start with that particular part itself. Now if you see Rajesh, let's attack Rajesh now. See how I'm reading, huh? This information from this Mr. Rajesh visits India. Now see how I'm reading, huh? I just need to know, is there any further information? Now Mr. Rajesh visits India for every year to be with his parents. The details of his income are as follows. So this in this case, up till here it is Rajesh. Up till here it is Rajesh. See how we have to make this question in the next 1 minute. My approach will be this much to this would be Rajesh. Okay. Without, otherwise, if you read normally, you will go mad. You need to know why what you are reading and why you are reading. Now I know why I am reading Mr. Rajesh. Why? I only not require his residential status. I'm not supposed to compute the total income of Rajesh. I'm also not supposed to compute the total income of Soumya. I'm only supposed to know the residential status. Now see the next paragraph. How I'm reading. Okay, now see my reply. 1 minute I will give for this. With Soumya, visited India. Okay, fine. Preeti, Magaraji, she. So it's entirely students. So she also earns interest. Up till here it is Soumya. Up till here it is Soumya. Are you getting this one, students? This is the art. Oh, happened. This is the art of doing it. Right now, because I'm explaining to all of you, it is taking like because I have to explain, na? Otherwise, I would have done trash down this entire exercise in 2 minutes only. How 2 minutes? Maybe or maybe 3 minutes. First, I would have read the first paragraph. Then immediately I would have done what is the question that I have to answer. 5 questions. 3 residential status. And for Dinesh and Karthik only total income. Okay. Now I am got for Rajesh. This much is Soumya. Then what happens? See here Dinesh. Dinesh. And then thereafter comes your last star batsman. Who's the star batsman? Dinesh Karthik. All they are of Karthik. Now to see how the question becomes easier. Otherwise, if you have read normally, then do you know, second time also you have to read it again. When you have done that question, na, second time also you have to read it again. I'm telling you students, believe me. Because right now your approach is only to get the solution. So if you read it conventionally like this big question, case studies, which you are going to do in last 1 hour, then what would have happened? One paragraph, first paragraph, you read it properly. But don't read it only without any purpose. How I read it? First 6 lines PIO. Next 4 lines for all the 4% I have done a split. Then I don't read anything else. Now I want to know what is the question. Question I came to know. Rajesh, Soumya, Dinesh Karthik, residential status, Dinesh Karthik, total income. Then I will take a call. Do I need to do total income of Dinesh and Karthik? In the examination, I'll take a call depending upon how much time is left. This is the art of doing your DT paper. Ask your seniors, those who have written DT paper up till now in the old course, do they struggle to complete DT paper or not? Ask them. Somebody would have attempted, your friend circle, and they will say, yes, we do. 80 marks, 70 marks, 75 marks. This much is the average attempt. And what you are leaving is something that you already knew. That is a crime. First of all, you know in CA funnel, that is a big thing. And then leaving, doing a charity, this charity is criminal. You do charity rest of your life. That will be giving you blessings. But here it is like a crime, doing charity in CA funnel, of leaving the papers after knowing the questions. That itself is a big thing. The blessings of the God has been rejected by you in the examination. Be careful, students, how you read the questions. I hope that all of you are clear now. Now you are capable. I think now you people will do. Take a try. What is the residential status of Rajesh? One by one, do it. I give you a good time of 5-10 minutes. Or can you do this as a homework, students? Do it as a homework, and we'll quickly do this one in the next session. I have done this exercise for all of you. Now I want that you people. So okay, one important point. One important point. Hold on. I just need to tell you one important point, because then in this case this is there. This information, students, just pay attention, students. Can you see this information? Students, this information is going to come in the topic of foreign tax credit. There is one rule 115. Now you tell me, just tell me one thing, students. If a person is India, just pay attention. I'll just tell you one concept so that at least because you are doing it, therefore it will help you. A person, student, he is a resident. He is a resident student. If a person is a resident student, then you should know this. That is, world income will be taxable. World income will be taxable, isn't it? Okay. If his world income is taxable, students, then the next question, he will earn foreign income. Yes, he will earn foreign income. If foreign income may be earned in foreign currency, the foreign income may be earned in foreign currency. Now, whether that foreign income is also taxable? Answer is yes. Now, if you have to tax that foreign income, students, that foreign income needs to be converted in Indian rupee, na? You all agree or not? That conversion, students, that you do in INR, that conversion that you do in INR, this conversion is done as per Rule 115. Rule 115, students. So this conversion that you do from the foreign currency into Indian currency, students, in this case, this will be done through Rule 115. So we will learn, it's very simple rule. Okay, but obviously this is not the right time to teach you Rule 115. But since we have got one question, that's the reason why I'm telling you. So the rule says this. The rule says this, that if you have earned a salary income, a resident has earned a salary income in foreign currency. Okay, then you have to convert by TT buying rate. TT buying rate of what? Of the last date. TT buying rate of the last date of what? Of preceding month. Friends, last date of what? Of preceding month. Preceding month of what? When the salary was accrued. Preceding month of preceding month when the salary was accrued. Please write salary in dollar. I'm dictating point. TT buying rate on the last date of the preceding month, last date of preceding month when the salary was accrued. Or became due. Through a due. Okay. Students, this is what it is. This regard. So accordingly, so if it is accrued or become due in the month of say May, then you will take TT buying rate of 30th of April. TT buying rate of what? 30th of April. Okay. Students, you do, this is not required. I just want you to do only the 3 questions of residence status. That is it. Because you've learned that much only, na? Don't do the other 2 questions, total income. Let's do that total income, students, tomorrow in the class. Okay, I'll take you through the total income. But only you do the residence status. I have already given the year mark. Do it. And I'll see you in the tomorrow session. We'll be discussing. Bye, students.